Hi, I'm Joe Brooks for Lonesome Studios, and today I want to talk about why label-signed artists go broke. Finance is a complicated topic and a vital aspect of anyone's livelihood. We all want to make money doing what we love, but how do we keep that money long term? To get an idea of how label-signed artists find themselves going broke, you need to first understand how they're being paid. This is usually in the form of advances. Now, here's the catch. The advance isn't really the artist's money. It's more of a loan. The label sees the artist as an investment. They put their money into supporting and marketing the artist in the hope of making money back from the revenue in sales. Now, in a perfect world, the artist pays them back the advance and lives off the continuing sales. The issue artists often run into involves a lot of misplaced faith in their new financial situation. They start to rent out expensive yachts and supercars and mansions to feature in their music videos, and before you know it, their new lifestyle that they've been portraying is no longer affordable and it's running them dry. Despite profits, labels can choose to stop promoting the artists, saving money on advertising and betting on somebody else. Now, for the multi-million-dollar labels, it's just a numbers game. You know, they just throw money at a bunch of artists and see what sticks. Even if 1 out of 20 artists turns out to be super successful, then that one artist alone will cover the expenses sustained by the other 19. And what happens to the others, you ask? They get shelved, they get abandoned. They're stuck in contractual deals with labels that don't even believe in them. Dead. The extreme materialism exhibited by many of hip-hop's mainstream artists embodies a mindset that places material wealth above all, and in turn encourages their audience to do the same, and new artists follow suit. With musicians, especially those coming from working class, low-income households, a big payout or an advance can feel like a lifetime achievement. You know, a previously incomprehensible amount of money is now at their fingertips. They have full control over how they manage it and what they spend it on. And to many, it's a very slippery slope that completely fucks over their entire music career. We live in a world where social pressure can dictate how somebody looks, how they are perceived, who they spend their time with, and who they're trying to impress. Surrounding yourselves with rich-looking people or artists that are trying to one-up each other will inevitably force you to spend more money on material items. They drain your funds. They contribute very little to your overall value of life. As an environment where everyone's success is driven by public popularity, the music industry is packed full of big egos. Over the years, we've seen a lot of artists fall victim to their own egos and to their reckless spending in an attempt to maintain this fake public image. Ja Rule, perhaps one of the most intriguing examples of an artist whose presumption of success has driven his decisions. Now, back in 2001, Ja Rule starred in the first of the now 9-movie-long franchise that is The Fast and the Furious. 2 years later, he was the first choice to return for a supporting role in Too Fast and Too Furious, a role that ended up going to Ludacris, an actor that is now synonymous with the franchise. Director John Singleton was quoted as saying, "Ja got too big for himself. He turned it down. He turned down $500,000. He got 15 grand to be in the first movie. You know, and he was big at that time. You know, Murder Inc. were just throwing out hits. They were making money hand over foot. He was acting like he was too big to be in the sequel, and he wouldn't return their calls." The director carries on to say that then he made a call. You know, he called Ludacris. He said, "Hey Luda, I haven't met you before, but I like what you're doing right now." Luda was humble, excited to meet him. He said, "You know, I'm doing this movie and I'm wondering if you want to be a part of it." And he goes, "Yeah, anything you do, I want to be a part of." And that's how Ludacris got in Too Fast and Too Furious. And the rest is history. Ludacris has now been in space, by the way, so obviously doing quite well from it. And then there's Ja Rule. Where is he today? You know, last I heard of him, it was during that shitstorm that was a Fire Festival. Wake up! MC Hammer became a hip-hop legend in the early 1990s after releasing his album, Please Hammer, Don't Hurt 'Em. This album sold over 10 million copies and instantly put the star at a $33 million annual salary. Now, the artist began to live a lifestyle that was too lavish. You know, he started to roll with an entourage of around 40 people. You know, and in addition, he spent over $30 million on his mansion, paying 200 plus staff members millions of dollars every single month. In 1996, the artist filed for bankruptcy after facing a couple of copyright infringement lawsuits. Now, in the end, he owed $13 million and was forced to sell his home. At the end of the day, a label is running a business, and as an artist and their music, that's the product they want. The artists, you know, they need to realize and understand the environment they find themselves in and operate with decision-making that will benefit the long term. You know, they need to avoid these materialistic mistakes and this show-off mentality that is aimed at short-term happiness. So what do you spend this money on then? You spend it on legal advisors, managers, as they're a vital element in the music artist's life. You know, their job is to handle the business aspects of an artist's career, assuring any documents and deals and contracts are fair and in the artist's best interests. The simple truth is that having a manager or an attorney that is experienced and well-informed on the industry's inner workings will make all the difference. They're an irreplaceable asset to ensure stability and freedom in the artist's professional and private life. So, you've got the legal side handled. You know, you're not signing any contracts that throw you under the bus. You have some expendable income that you want to utilize for something greater than buying a new gold chain with diamonds or a car or an AP. So, in other words, what's the game to play then for the long term? Here's the answer: invest. Here's why. The cash you will save will depreciate due to inflation. So when your cash fails to keep up with inflation, it loses its relative value and you will have less spending power. Now, investments, on the other hand, they can be index linked to inflation or have a reasonable relationship with inflation where it outstrips during most years. So that prevents your assets from declining in value as the years roll on. Investments can give a passive income to live off of. Once you have a large enough portfolio balance, you can live exclusively off the annual gains. In finance, the idea of compound interest simply means that instead of taking out any earnings you make from the interest, you leave it in. You leave it in the investments, effectively earning interest on top of your interest. Finally, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify. You know, I don't think this one needs any explaining. And that's it. That's what we have to tell you as an artist. Investment is extremely important and it allows you to offset that feeling of, Mum, can you send me some rent money? So just make sure that whenever you get your label money, you do the right thing with it. I've been Joe Brooks for Lonesome Dog Studios. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you give us a follow because there's a lot of exciting content coming up soon. And if you make it, lend us a tenner.